Good morning. Welcome to day 44 of Bible in a Year as we travel through Genesis to Revelations in 365 days. We're following together the adventure timeline put together by Jeff Cavins. We're going through the translation of New International Version. My name is Pastor Jay Lutz, and we're continuing in our period of Egypt and Exodus. We're going through the Bible because the Bible is the greatest love story ever told. Actually, also the greatest book ever stolen. Which is kind of funny that people would steal the Bible, but that's besides the point. So today we're reading Exodus chapter 27 to 28, Leviticus 20, and Psalm 119 verses 57 to 120. Now, Exodus 27 to 28, the Lord tells Moses to build an altar and a courtyard for the tabernacle. And he gives him measurements of this, and then God also explains what oil must be used for the lampstands and how to make the priestly garments for Aaron and the others within the priesthood. Leviticus 20 is a list the Lord gives for Moses of the punishments outlined when breaking Levitical laws for such sins. Sorry, didn't seem to get those words out of my mouth. Psalm 119, verses 57 to 120. This is continuing reading the longest psalm in the Bible. Now, remember, this is a psalm of wisdom, and it's done in acrostics where every single word of the Hebrew Bible is one heading for each. And so we went through 1 through 7, and now we're going through 8 through 15 today out of 23. Anyways, so let's get into it. Chapter 27 of Exodus. Build an altar of acacia wood, 3 cubits high. It is to be square, 5 cubits long and 5 cubits wide. Make a horn in each of the 4 corners so that the horns of the altar are of one piece, and overlay the altar with bronze. Make all its utensils of bronze, its pots to remove the ashes, and its shovels, sprinkling bowls, meat, forks, and fire pans. Make a grating for it, a bronze network, and make a bronze ring in each one of the 4 corners of the network. Put it under the ledge of the altar so that it is halfway up the altar. Make poles of acacia wood for the altar and overlay them with bronze. Poles are to be inserted into the rings so that they will be on one side of the altar when it is carried. Make the altar hollow out of boards. It is to be made just as you were shown on the mountain. Make a courtyard for the tabernacle. The south side shall be 100 cubits long, and it is to have curtains of finely twisted linen, with 20 posts and 20 bronze bases, and with silver hooks and bands on the posts. The north side shall also be 100 cubits long, and it is to have curtains with 20 posts and 20 bronze bases, and with silver hooks and bands on the posts. The west end of the courtyard shall be 50 cubits wide, and have curtains with 10 posts and 10 bases. On the east end, towards the sunrise, the courtyard shall also be 50 cubits wide. Curtains 15 cubits long are to be on one side of the entrance, with 3 posts and 3 bases. And curtains 15 cubits long are to be on the other side, with 3 posts and 3 bases. For the entrance to the courtyard, provide a curtain 20 cubits long of blue, purple, and scarlet yarn, and finely twisted linen, the work of an embroiderer, with 4 posts and 4 bases. All the posts around the courtyard are to have silver bands and hooks, and bronze bases. The courtyard shall be 100 cubits long and 50 cubits wide, with curtains of finely twisted linen, 5 cubits high, and with bronze bases. All the other articles used in the service of the tabernacle, whatever their function, including all the tent pegs for it and those in the courtyard, are to be of bronze. Command the Israelites to bring your clear oil of pressed olives for the light, so that the lamps may be kept burning. In the tent of meeting outside the curtain that is in front of the testimony, Aaron and his sons are to keep the lamps burning before the Lord from evening till morning. This is to be a lasting ordinance among the Israelites for the generations to come. Chapter 28. Have Aaron your brother brought to you from among the Israelites, along with his sons Nadab and Abihu, Eleazar and Ithamar, so that they might serve me as priests. Make sacred garments for your brother Aaron, to make him dignified and honored. Tell all the skilled men to whom I have given wisdom in such matters that they are to make garments for Aaron, for his consecration, so he may serve me as priest. These are the garments they are to make: a breastpiece, an ephod, a robe, a woven tunic, a turban, and a sash. They are to make these sacred garments for their brother Aaron and his sons, so they may serve me as priests. Have them use gold and blue, purple and scarlet yarn, and fine linen. Make an ephod of gold and of blue, purple, and scarlet yarn, and of finely twisted linen, the work of a skilled craftsman. It is to have 2 shoulder pieces attached to 2 of its corners, so it can be fastened. Its skillfully woven waistband is to be like it, of 1 piece with the ephod, and made with gold, and with blue, purple, and scarlet yarn, and with finely twisted linen. Take 2 onyx stones, and engrave on them the names of the sons of Israel, in the order of their births, 6 names on one stone, and the remaining 6 on the other. Engrave the names of the sons of Israel on the 2 stones, the way a gem cutter engraves a seal. Then mount the stones in gold filigree settings, and fasten them on the shoulder pieces of the ephod, as a memorial stones for the sons of Israel. Aaron is to bear the name on his shoulder, as a memorial before the Lord. Make gold filigree settings and 2 braided chains of pure gold, like a rope, and attach the chains to the settings. Fashion a breastplate for making decisions, the work of the skilled craftsman. Make it like the ephod, of gold and of blue, purple, and scarlet yarn, and of finely twisted linen. It is to be square, a span long and a span wide, and folded double. Then mount 4 rows of precious stones on it. In the first row there shall be a ruby, a topaz, and a beryl. In the second row, a turquoise, a sapphire, and an emerald. In the third row, a jacinth, an agate, and amethyst. In the fourth row, chrysolite, onyx, and jasper. Mount them in gold filigree settings. There are to be 12 stones, 1 for each of the names of the sons of Israel, each engraved like a seal with the name on one of the 12 tribes. For the breastpiece, make braided chains of pure gold like a rope. Make 2 gold rings for it, and fasten them in 2 corners of the breastpiece. Fasten the 2 gold chains to the rings at the corner of the breastpiece, and the other ends of the chain to other 2 settings, attaching them to the shoulder piece of the ephod at the front. Make 2 gold rings and attach them to the other 2 corners of the breastpiece, on the inside edge next to the ephod. Make 2 more gold rings and attach them to the bottom of the shoulder pieces, on the front of the ephod, close to the seam just above the waistband of the ephod. The rings of the breastpiece are to be tied to the rings of the ephod, with blue cord connecting it to the waistband, so that the breastpiece will not swing out from the ephod. Whenever Aaron enters the holy place, he will bear the names of the sons of Israel over his heart on the breastpiece of decision as a continual memorial before the Lord. Also put the Urim and the Thummim in the breastpiece, so they may be over Aaron's heart whenever he enters the presence of the Lord. Thus Aaron will always bear the means of making decisions for the Israelites over his heart before the Lord. Make the robe of the ephod entirely of blue cloth, with an opening for the head in its center. There shall be a woven edge, like a collar, around this opening, so that it will not tear. Make pomegranates of blue, purple, and scarlet yarn around the hem of the robe, with the gold bells between them. The gold bells and the pomegranates are to alternate around the hem of the robe. Aaron must wear it when he ministers. The sound of the bells will be heard when he enters the holy place before the Lord, and when he comes out, so that he will not die. Make a plate of pure gold and engrave on it as on a seal, holy to the Lord. Fasten a blue cord to it to attach to the turban. It is to be on the front of the turban. It will be on Aaron's forehead, and he will bear the guilt involved in the sacred gifts the Israelites consecrate. Whatever their gifts may be, it will be on Aaron's forehead continually, so that they will be acceptable to the Lord. Weave the tunic of fine linen and make the turban of fine linen. The sash is to be a work of an embroiderer. Make tunics, sashes, and headbands for Aaron's sons to give them dignity and honor. After you put these clothes on your brother Aaron and his sons, anoint and ordain them. Consecrate them so they may serve me as priests. Make linen undergarments as a covering for the body, reaching from the waist to the thigh. Aaron and his sons must wear them whenever they enter the tent of meeting or approach the altar to minister in the holy place, so that they will not incur guilt and death. This is to be a lasting ordinance for Aaron and his descendants. Our second reading comes from Leviticus chapter 20. The Lord said to Moses, "Say to the Israelites, any Israelite or any alien living in Israel who gives any of his children to Moloch must be put to death. The people of the community are to stone him. I will set my face against that man, and I will cut him off from his people. For by giving his children to Moloch, he has defiled my sanctuary and profaned my holy name. If the people of the community close their eyes when the man gives one of his children to Moloch, and they fail to put him to death, I will set my face against that man and his family, and will cut off from their people both him and all who follow him in prostituting themselves to Moloch. I will set my face against a person who turns to mediums and spiritualists to prostitute themselves by following them, and I will cut him off from his people. Consecrate yourselves and be holy, because I am the Lord your God. Keep your decrees and follow them. I am the Lord who makes you holy. If anyone curses his father or mother, he must be put to death. He has cursed his father or his mother, and his blood will be on his own forehead. If a man commits adultery with another man's wife, with the wife of his neighbor, both the adulterer and the adulteress must be put to death. If a man sleeps with his father's wife, he has dishonored his father. Both the man and the woman must be put to death. Their blood will be on their own heads. If a man sleeps with his daughter-in-law, both of them must be put to death. What they have done is a perversion. Their blood will be on their own heads. If a man lies with a man as one lies with a woman, both of them have done what is detestable. They must be put to death. Their blood will be on their own heads. If a man marries both a woman and her mother, it is wicked. Both he and they must be burned in the fire, so that no wickedness will be among you. If a man has sexual relations with an animal, he must be put to death, and you must kill the animal. If a woman approaches an animal to have sexual relations with it, kill both the woman and the animal. They must be put to death. Their blood will be on their own heads. If a man marries his sister, the daughter of either of his father or his mother, and they have sexual relations, it is a disgrace. They must be cut off before the eyes of the people. He has dishonored his sister and would be held responsible. If a man lies with a woman during her monthly period and has sexual relations with it, he has exposed the source of her flow, and she has also uncovered it. Both of them must be cut off from their people. Do not have sexual relations with the sister of either your mother or your father, for that would dishonor a close relative. Both of you would be held responsible. If a man sleeps with his aunt, he has dishonored his uncle. They will be held responsible. They will die childless. If a man marries his brother's wife, it is an act of impurity. He has dishonored his brother. They will be childless. Keep all my decrees and laws and follow them, so that the land where I am bringing you to live may not vomit you out. You must not live according to the customs of the nations. I am going to drive out before you. Because they did all these things, I abhor them. But I said to you, you will possess their land. I will give it to you as an inheritance, a land flowing with milk and honey. I am the Lord your God, who has set you apart from the nations. You must therefore make a distinction between clean and unclean animals, and between unclean and clean birds. Do not defile yourself by any animal or bird, or anything that moves along the ground, those which I have set apart as unclean. For you are to be holy to me, because I, the Lord and I am holy, and I have set you apart from the nations to be my own. A man or a woman who is a medium or spiritualist among you must be put to death. You are to stone them. Their blood will be on their own heads. Here ends our second reading. Our last reading comes from Psalm 119, 57 to 120. You are my portion, O Lord. I have promised to obey your words. I have sought your face with all my heart. Be gracious to me according to your promise. I have considered my ways, and I have turned my steps to your statutes. I will hasten and not delay to obey your commands. Though the wicked bind me with ropes, I will not forget your law. At midnight I will rise to give you thanks for your righteous laws. I am friend to all who fear you, to all who follow your precepts. The earth is filled with your love, O Lord. Teach me your decrees. Teth. Do good to your servant according to your word, O Lord. Teach me knowledge and good judgment, for I believe in your commands. Before I was afflicted, I went astray, but now I obey your word. You are good, and what you do is good. Teach me your decrees. Though the arrogant have smeared me with lies, I keep your precepts with all my heart. Their hearts are callous and unfeeling, but I delight in your law. It was good for me to be afflicted, so that I might learn your decrees. The law from your mouth is more precious to me than thousands of pieces of silver and gold. Yod. Your hand made me and formed me, giving me understanding to learn your commands. May those who fear you rejoice when they see me. For I have put my hope in your word. I know, O Lord, that your laws are righteous, and in faithfulness you have afflicted me. May your unfailing love be my comfort, according to your promise to your servant. Let your compassion come to me that I might live, for your law is my delight. May the arrogant be put to shame for wrongdoing me without cause. But I will meditate on your precepts. May those who fear you turn to me, those who understand your statutes. May my heart be blameless toward your decrees, that I may not be put to shame. Calf. My soul faints with longing for your salvation, but I have put my hope in your word. My eyes fail, looking for your promise. I say, when will you comfort me? Though I am like a wineskin in the smoke, I do not forget your decrees. How long must your servant wait? When will you punish my persecutors? The arrogant dig pitfalls for me. Contrary to your law, all your commands are trustworthy. Help me, for men persecute me without cause. They almost wipe me from the earth, but I have not forsaken your precepts. Preserve my life according to your love, and I will obey the statutes of your mouth. Lamed. Your word, O Lord, is eternal. It stands firm in the heavens. Your faithfulness continues through all generations. You establish the earth, and it endures. Your laws endure to this day. For all things serve you. If your law had not been my delight, I would have perished in my affliction. I will never forget your precepts. For by them you have preserved my life. Save me, for I am yours. I have sought out your precepts. The wicked are waiting to destroy me, but I will ponder your statutes. To all perfection I see a limit, but your commands are boundless. Mem. Oh, how I love your law. I meditated it on all day and long. Your commands make me wiser than my enemies, for they are ever with me. I have more insight than all my teachers, for I meditate on your statutes. I have more understanding than the elders, for I obey your precepts. I have kept my feet from evil paths, so that I might obey your word. I have not departed from your law, for you yourself have taught me. How sweet are your words to my taste, sweeter than honey to my mouth. I gain understanding from your precepts. Therefore I hate every wrong path. Your word is a lamp to my feet and a light to my path. I have taken an oath and confirmed it, that I will follow your righteous laws. I have suffered much. Preserve my life, O Lord, according to your word. Accept, O Lord, the willing praise of my mouth, and teach me your laws. Though I constantly take my life in my hands, I will not forget your law. The wicked have set a snare for me, but I have not strayed from your precepts. Your statutes are my heritage forever. They are the joy of my heart. My heart is set on keeping your decrees to the very end. Semek. I hate double-minded men, but I love your law. You are my refuge and my shield. I have put my hope in your word. Away from me, O evildoers, that I might keep the commands of my God. Sustain me according to your promise, and I will live. Do not let my hopes be dashed. Uphold me, and I will be delivered. I will always have regard for your decrees. You reject all who stray from your decrees, for their deceitfulness is in vain. All the wicked on the earth you discard like dross. Therefore I love your statutes. My flesh trembles in fear of you. I stand in awe of your laws. Here ends the reading. This is beautiful when it speaks of all the assurances of God. And he talks so sweetly to God about, you uphold me, you deliver me, you are my refuge, you are my shield. I put my hope in your word. But at the same time, God is also kind of like we see in the C.S. Lewis's book, The Lion, Witch, and the Wardrobe. It talks about Aslan as being, remember, still this lion is still wild, and remember that you need to always remember that it is still a force in which we cannot control, and that's God, and that's why he says at the very end, my flesh trembles in fear of you. I stand in awe of your law, because God is not only good, but he is also holy and mighty, and he is beyond our understanding, and he is to be revered. For we do not know all the ways of God, but we do know, as it says in verse 97, oh, how lovely are your laws. We also hear in Leviticus about various laws of things that are done. So this basically goes through any of these laws that we've heard beforehand, and now it puts what are the punishments for these various laws. And for breaking all these laws. And I think they're fairly reasonable, honestly. You don't want to have sexual relations in your immediate family. It's weird and gross. And the same thing with having sex with animals, and having unnatural forms of sex. There's so many perversions of sex nowadays, and it's as soon as you start breaking the laws in order to suit your own needs, it's already a lost battle and a slippery slope downwards that doesn't continue well. And then lastly, we hear about all the things that were built for the tabernacle. Things that God requires, altars and courtyards, and these are just understandable things. This is how we often build our own buildings. I know when we were talking about possible ideas for a hospice, we entertain the idea, why not a courtyard? What would they do for lighting? These are just common questions. And the other thing now is the priestly garments. We hear about the priestly garments, and God has Aaron and his sons talk about the priestly garments and what is required, and he has them. Each one of them have a turban and a breastplate that has the 12 stones of the 12 tribes of Israel to represent, and it says that he has the Urim and Thummim. So these are the two stones that decide yes or no before his heart or his physical heart, to symbolize the spiritual heart of how his decision should always be made before his heart, before God, and that in keeping with God's good ruling, he might keep all these decisions close at heart. And we should do the same. We should continue to put God's decisions very, very close to our heart in order that we don't sin against God. These are all beautiful readings. I pray that you might keep these readings close at heart as you go through your day, and that you might keep God close to heart in order that you might not sin against him. May you have a blessed day. Pray for me as we go through this Bible in years. I pray for you that you might grow in the fear and wisdom of God. Have a blessed day.